We're going to answer a really important question about a Roth IRA. Stay tuned. This one's critically important for basically everybody.
All right, 401k question. So I have a Roth account and a pre-tax 401k. I figured out I can take a loan against the pre-tax, so I did, and I paid that back weekly. I have a Roth account that has about 100 or 17,000 in it, and I can't touch it. I need it. I'm getting sued over my soon-to-be ex-husband's business. I was going to put the business debts in the divorce, but he's in jail. It's not an astronomical amount, but I do not have 4K to pay this debt. How can I get my money out of my Roth? I was told I had to be at least 55 and a half or lose my job. I've been at my job for 10 years. I'm nowhere near 55.
A lot of questions, a lot of issues here. So you got a Roth and a pre-tax 401k. So the difference between a 401k and a Roth is that the Roth itself is an after-tax account. You do not want to take money out of a Roth if you can at all avoid it for any reason. One, you're going to pay a penalty. And two, inside the Roth, all of that growth grows tax-free. You grow a Roth to $50 million and you never pay tax on it. You grow a traditional IRA or a 401k to $50 million, and you're going to pay the government like $20 million worth of taxes because they're going to take their taxes totally out of that account. So do not remove money out of the Roth. So you're getting sued over your soon-to-be ex-husband's business. One, you probably can't be sued over that, and it's probably nonsense. I would need to talk to her to determine that, but it's only a $4,000 lawsuit. First off, with the assets that she's got, she is probably judgment-proof to begin with.
Well, wouldn't her husband be like, isn't he responsible for half of that debt anyway?
He's responsible for all of that debt. The issue is
his business.
Yeah. In fact, he may not be responsible for any of it because his business is responsible for that debt, not him. So the business is the proper suit. It's only if he signed a personal guarantee or if he's a sole proprietor, which is why you want to have an LLC or a corporation to protect you, because if they sue the corporation, all they can do is take the corporation's assets. You own the corporation. You don't own any of the assets of the corporation. Those could all be taken, and you don't have any of the debts of the corporation because those are able to be paid by the corporation only. They can't go after your personal assets. That's why proper business planning is critically important. So, and then it's a $4,000 debt. That's not that big of a deal.
Here's my question though. She says that she has $17,000 in her Roth account. She can't touch it, but she needs it. Why does she need $17,000 if she only needs the $4,000 to pay this debt? That's my question.
Well, she has 17, but I think she's just looking to maybe try and get 4, hopefully. I think what she's like is she's looking at it like, oh, I got a winning lottery ticket. I got $17,000. I can take that and spend it now. Don't do that. You need that for your retirement. You're nowhere 55 and a half. Every 5 years, if you have that invested properly, your money is going to double. So in 5 years, that's $35K. In 10 years, that's $70,000. In 15 years, that's $140,000. In 20 years, that's $280,000. Do you want to lose $280,000 tax-free dollars by taking it out to solve whatever silly thing that you want to spend that money on now? Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not.
And you need to get on an investment calculator online. Just get in an investment calculator, throw in your money in there, put a rate of return 10 to 12% in there. See how your money's going to grow over a course of 20 years or so, and then really examine that before you make some harsh decision.
You just Google Dave Ramsey investment calculator, click on his and use it. Put in your age, put how much money's in there, put a rate of return, and put 20 years from now, see how much it is. Then put 30 years from now and see how much it is. Then put 40 years from now, see how much it is. When you're 90, how much money do you want to have to live on? I mean, seriously, how much money do you want to have to live on when you're 90? Because you are not going to be wanting to work and stand there in front of Walmart, if there even is such a thing at that point in time. You need to be prepared for this.
And if you don't realize this, get on Dave Ramsey, watch some of his episodes. He has elderly people calling in where they're working
all the time.
Housekeepers that are working in their 70s and they have no retirement. Don't know what to do. Like, don't put yourself in that type of position. over $4,000, I wouldn't even sweat it. I would let them
just let them sit there.
I would let them come after me.
Come after you, and then call them and offer them, like, save up the $4,000, and then call them up and offer them $500 to take that.
Of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like they'll probably take $1,500.
Let it
no
impact
problem.
your credit.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, like you'll rebuild your credit back up. Like honestly,
and as a matter of fact,
it's more important.
So here's important. There's a statute of limitations in Texas. If it's been 4 years, they can't even come back and collect it from you or sue you for it. I guess if they're suing now, but if it's been that long ago, it's not even going to have to be paid. It's really not your problem. If you have any question about it, though, like call a lawyer, because I got a lot more questions that I would want to know about this. And there's already on this one, because this was from July, there's already several comments and probably some lawyers recommended in there.
She did comment some more on this because
she did. Okay.
Because you had commented. So she said, you told her, do not take the money out.
Right.
Okay? And then she says, but I'm being sued. I'm not on any paperwork for the business, but I did co-sign the loan, and now he's in jail, and I'm being sued. And then you asked her how much is lawsuit for. She said $4,000. You gave her a recommendation to call Gary Lyon. And then she talks about she filed for divorce already, just waiting on a court date. And then she says that there's $11,732 because of attorney fees. And then someone just asked, like, why shouldn't she get the money? And then you said that you would answer this question in the podcast.
So here's one. There's a guy, and he said you can take it out. It's all your money. Just pay the taxes on it. Mm-hmm. He's foolish because the taxes have already been paid. He says later in this he's not a lawyer. Do not take advice from a non-lawyer about this. You're even in a group where we're telling you and giving you information about this at no charge, and we're giving you information. Now, I got to be really clear. Nothing in this group is legal advice. What you're watching here, this is not legal advice. This is me answering general informational questions. The only way that you can get legal advice is if you call up and pay for and have a consultation with a licensed attorney, not a paralegal, not, whoever, whatever, with a licensed attorney who talks to you, analyzes your situation, and then can give you legal advice. But giving you sort of the information that'll help lead you in the right direction. But this guy says, no matter what, you cannot escape taxes. Yeah, you can. If you leave the money in the Roth account. And then he says you can either pay now or pay later. No, that's not true, because you already paid it. I'm trying to help you to prevent you from making this mistake. Well, keep the money in the Roth.
I think it's important to know that Roth accounts have specific requirements behind them. That's why you get that advantage with the tax. And you have to be in a certain income bracket.
Exactly.
You can only put so much into it.
Exactly.
Like there is the tax benefit of that as long as you keep it in there until you retire at the retirement age.
Right. So this guy wants you to pay a 10% penalty and then not get all that tax-free growth. You're going to wind up paying a whole lot more to the government. And then he says, I'm not a lawyer, but I took out all my money. There's no point in having it if you can't use it. It's like, you don't understand. You will have nothing when you're older. You won't be able to work, or you're not going to want to work. Like, the whole point of retirement is to free yourself from slavery. We all own one slave. Me, I own me. And Jennifer, you own you. Mm-hmm. Everybody owns one slave. It's ourselves. I own me. I own me. That's what it is to work in the United States. And you know what I want to do? I want to free me. And how do I free me to where I don't have to go to work unless I want to? I do things that are fulfilling to me, mm-hmm. and that is what I want to do to help better the world. There's nothing that I have to do because I'm financially free. I'm financially independent. I can live and take care of things. And so that's the life that is worth living. That's what you want to do.
And you can't rely on Social Security.
Absolutely not.
No. And even if you got Social Security, like let's just say down the road, and it's $2,000 a month, do you think you're going to be able to live off $2,000 a month? You're not. Look how much groceries cost.
Right.
I mean, you're going to be spending that in groceries probably in so many years from now.
So let me tell you what the ideal is. The ideal is what I call the 20X formula. If you have 20 times the amount of money that you need to live on in 1 year, then you're financially free. Why? Because if you invest that money at a 10% rate of return, 5%, half of that earnings is what you live on. And now you never have to touch the principal. So it's still there to earn money for you the following year. But the other 5% that you didn't spend adds to that. So next year, the amount that you actually get to live on goes up by 10%. That formula at a 10% rate of return, every year you get 10% more money than the year before, and you work zero. You no longer have to be a slave where you trade your time for money. Instead, you purchased things that pay you money because you own them. Your money pays you. Your money pays you. And why? Because people are using that money as an investment to make things better. And you get a 10% of what that profit is. And because of that, you have created that much better in the world. It's not that you're like, oh, the greedy capitalist taking advantage of. No, you're giving advantages to the labor. You're giving those advantages out because you traded your time for money, and then you took that energy and created something else. Whether it's something that some other entrepreneur used and then created, it's called an investment. It's like 10 people getting together and they built a barn for somebody else. And from the barn, you can house more animals. And then now there's more animals to eat. There's more food. So then you get some of it. It's the basic economics. It's the basic fundamental principles. That's what's there. At a 20x with a 10% rate of return, you're better off than any government program ever will be there. And the thing that you're going to want is the government to leave you alone with that, because they've already taxed you and taxed you and taxed you. That's what's important. That's what you need. So keep your money in that 401k, save up to be able to just pay that $4,000 debt off, and make sure you file an answer for the lawsuit so they don't just get a default against you. And you know what? If you file an answer for a $4,000 debt, they're probably going to waive that debt anyway and not go after you for it, because it's not enough money for them to even bother with the suit. They just are trying to get an easy judgment for the $4,000. Mm-hmm. They might walk away from it, or maybe you have to go to court, but it'll buy you some more time.
You can negotiate this too.
If it's a business debt for a business that's gone out of business, one, it's your husband's problem, probably. It's the business's problem, actually. And how it gets to you.
She's concerned because she was a cosigner.
If she was a cosigner, then that's an issue. And yeah, that's why you don't cosign loans for people, because you wind up paying for it. That basically says, I'll pay your loan and I trust you. Mm-hmm. I trust you to pay me back, even though it's like they're paying them. Well, if they don't pay them, you're paying them. So that's like you making the loan. That's what a cosigner is. Don't do it unless you're willing to give the person you're cosigning for the gift of the money and never see it again. That's your general rule. If you would gift them the money and you would write them a check, you would hand them cash right now and then just trust them and give it back to you. If you would do that, then that's about the equivalent of cosigning a loan. But if you don't have the money for a loan, never cosign for a loan for somebody else. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Don't ever do that. So hopefully that helps. Sorry if we seem like we're harshing on you, but it's not that. We're just passionate about this. We're trying to teach you. It's really important. It's critically important that you do this stuff right, because what we care about is not this like tiny minuscule problem that you've got. The real problem that you've got is we want you to be taken care of for the whole rest of your life. We're focused on the big picture, and we're not letting a little stumble right now, like go ahead, scrape your knee, you're going to be fine, but you're not going to die later. And we're keeping you away from the snakes and the quicksand and miserable elderly age. And you know, when you are 55 and a half, don't take the money out then either. Not unless you got 20 times the amount of money that you want to live on for the rest of your life. So we hope this helps. We'll see you in the next video. At us, it's at Lawyer Dana on YouTube. See you in the next video.